Hello, and welcome back to this second lesson in our little social media growth course. And today it's all about Twitter. Yesterday it was all about the question if social media can still give you traffic if you are not willing to invest in advertising. And the answer is a clear yes. But you have to know which social networks you can use and how you can use them. And it's important to know the processes in these social networks. And in part two, that's today, of our social media growth course, it's about how to get traffic from Twitter. And the third part tomorrow will be about how to get traffic from Pinterest. So stay with me. Twitter has been the key and the main source of traffic for a couple of social media influencers, but that was a couple of years ago. So the question is, how can you still get traffic from Twitter today? Twitter has been the key to our traffic success for our first business and for this blog. And as you can see in the graph for our first business, you really have to know what you're doing. And it took us a while to figure out how to use Twitter for traffic generation. And we struggled to get traffic. But once we found the right processes, the traffic grew exponentially and our business really exploded. For the blog, we already knew how to do that. We knew how to get traffic. So it was a steady growth curve. And we are not alone with our Twitter success. There are others like Jeff Bullas and many other social media influencers who have used Twitter to really build their social media expertise. So if the process for Twitter is so important to succeed, the question is, what are the key factors to Twitter success so that you can follow these steps and do the right work to succeed? And it all starts on your profile. People who want to decide if they want to follow you or not, they visit your profile and they want to know what you are about. So do them a favor and make it clear. Use keywords, make a statement, what you're going to tweet, what they can expect from you. And the second step in Twitter success is to become visible. If you don't have many followers, you can't expect people to find you. You have to get out there and make yourself visible. And you can follow some people, you can like what other people share, you can retweet what other people share, and you can engage, you can join conversations. I will get back to this aspect a little later. And the third factor, the third step you really have to do is to provide value for your target group on your Twitter account. And providing value is really tweeting helpful content, answer questions, but it's really about your content. You are producing content on your blog that is created for your target audience. So people on Twitter should be interested in what you published on your blog. Share it. Let's dive a little deeper into the question how to get visible on Twitter. And the main factor is to engage. Answer comments if you get them and comment other people's tweets. Watch your notifications tab because every engagement is going to show up there. But you can also force engagement by posting special types of content. Engagement content that's polls or threads or provocative statements. Sometimes it's even fun stuff. Engage your audience, make them aware of you, because people who have engaged with you, they will also remember you. You can also follow, like, and retweet. That's the simplest way of getting on other people's radar. I know the follow-unfollow process has not the best perception by some people on Twitter, but it does really work. You shouldn't overdo any of this. You should keep it real and social, and then this is going to work. There's some more sophisticated ways of getting visible on Twitter. One is to mention other people to get a reaction from them. You can use mention tweets to start a conversation, ask people questions, or even let them know that you posted about them, that you mentioned them in your blog posts or so. Most of the time, some of these people you mention in your tweets, when you have a reason to mention them in your tweets, they will like your tweet and they will often retweet you and even comment on your tweet. And the easiest but most time-consuming way to engage and get visible on Twitter is to join conversations. You can search for conversations from your niche. You can use the Twitter Advanced Search to find targeted conversations. And then you can answer questions, comment on discussions. And this is actually the easiest way to earn leads and signups and new followers on Twitter. How can you provide value in your tweets? I already mentioned that the best way is to share the blog content that you created with your target audience in mind. But when you're starting out, you will not have so many blog posts on your blog that you can keep your Twitter account very active with sharing your blog posts without repeating yourself over and over again. Because if you have only 3 blog posts, that's not going to fill your Twitter feed. But you can also use other people's content on Twitter to build your influence, to build your audience, and to share value on your Twitter account. You can simply curate content from your competitors, your blogging friends, from your niche, your fellow bloggers, corporation partners, tool owners, whatever. They all produce content for your target audience, and you can share this content on your Twitter account, and it will help you to be useful and helpful for your target audience, and it will help you to grow your audience. But I now can hear some of you complaining that you have been active on Twitter for a while and that you didn't get much traffic. So where is the traffic from Twitter? You can only get traffic from Twitter if you share your own content. If you curate a lot of content, that's not going to give you traffic. That is going to get traffic to the blog post that you curated from another source. If you want more traffic on your Twitter account, you need to share your own content, and you need to share more of your own content if you haven't shared very much of your own content so far. And you have to grow your audience if you want more traffic. Plus, there's a third factor. You have to engage your audience, because only engaged Twitter accounts will get a lot of visibility in the top tweet feed on Twitter, which is used by approximately 50% of Twitter users. So if you want more traffic from Twitter, share more of your own content and grow your audience. Focus on evergreen content on your blog, because you can share that more than once. If you have news content, you can only share that once or twice, and after a day, that's stale and old. If you have evergreen content that's still relevant after a couple of days, weeks, months, sometimes even years, you can keep sharing that. Just make sure that you don't repeat the same content in quick succession. Make sure that you have a larger interval, some days, between the sharing of the same piece of content. If you do that, you can share old content again and again. And sharing more of your own content is going to get you more traffic. In the first lesson of this little video course, I talked about the 3 challenges that people have with social media traffic generation. The first one is to choose the right network. The second is to figure out the best process in this social network. And the third is to stay consistent. And consistency is a huge factor for success on Twitter as well. You should definitely develop a routine. Maybe do 10 minutes of Twitter every morning with your first cup of coffee when you sit down at your desk or something like that, where you schedule some tweets, check your notification tab, engage a little, like, retweet, whatever. Do that every day, and it will become part of your work day, and you will be rewarded for this consistency. But there's also one factor that's really important. If you see progress, it will become easier to stay on it. So watch metrics and don't watch for the big traffic in the beginning, because that's going to develop slow in the beginning. It's going to develop. But if you now have one click from Twitter a day, you can't expect to have hundreds of clicks tomorrow. So watch out for more followers first, watch your notification tab, see how many people like your tweets. If that all increases, you're on a good way. And the second step to consistency without having to work on it all day long is also automation. I don't recommend to automate engagement. I don't like automated comments or likes, but that's just my personal opinion. What I do recommend is scheduling tweets. And for your own evergreen content, you can go for automated queues, recurring queues of your tweets, so that they never will run empty, and you can keep your Twitter account active all day long without worrying about that. And you can use the time you earn back by that to focus on engaging your target audience. I finished yesterday's lesson with a quote, and I want to do that today as well. And David Bibby, which I'm quoting here, is one of our first students in the Social Media Growth Basics course. And I think he puts into words what many of our students have felt about Twitter once they did our course. I completely underestimated Twitter and how powerful it actually is. I even think that some of the social media influencers who are successful on Pinterest or Facebook or even Instagram don't really know how Twitter works, and they don't see the power of Twitter. But once you understand how Twitter works and how you can use it for traffic generation, you also learn how powerful it really is for traffic and for meaningful connections. I hope you learned a lot in today's lesson about Twitter marketing. Tomorrow it's going to be all about Pinterest. I know that many bloggers who have in the past gotten in really much traffic from Pinterest have given up on Pinterest in the recent past, but that's not necessary. Pinterest is still awesome for traffic generation, but you have to know about recent developments, new features, and what's even more important, what Pinterest's goal is with these features, what they want to achieve on their platform. And that's what tomorrow's lesson is all about. I will give you a process that you can use to get traffic from Pinterest. See you tomorrow.